Most people see a staged home and they think the magic is in the staged furniture. But what they don't see is the behind the scenes happening that allows there to be an install that runs smoothly, is on time, and profitable. Today, we're diving into one of the things that can make or break a staging company, and that is systems. Here's the thing, people see a staged house and they think, wow, that's beautiful. We even interview for stylist roles all the time and they say, I want to play in these beautiful homes every day. But the reality is there is so much that happens logistically behind the scenes to make that happen that no one ever sees. Remember the last time you moved? Do you remember how much work it was to pack up every single item and make sure it was carefully packaged, get it all up on the truck, then move it into the new home? Well, that is what our team is doing every single day, every time we're going in and out of a home. And that's why systems matter so much. So today I want to pull back the curtain a little bit. I want to talk to you about the real life of how to create and build these systems so that your business can be sustainable and successful. My goal is to deliver you a stunning space without the headache, the hassle, and the chaos that actually happens behind the scenes. Staging is not just decorating, it's running a small business. And the reality is if you're not running a small business correctly, it can get chaotic really fast. The reality is on an installation day, you are juggling numerous different parts. You have sofas and lamps and rugs coming in out of your warehouse and into a new space. You're scheduling your team, you're scheduling your movers, you're handling all the logistics, and the last minute phone call from the real estate agent that says, actually, we need to slide things 3 more days, because that absolutely happens. And all of a sudden, this beautiful design that you're excited to deliver to your client feels like pure chaos. And the worst part about that chaos is it's kind of like driving a car down a road and the tires just start falling off. And all of a sudden, you're just free falling and praying to God you don't crash. And that's not how your business should feel. The only way that you can get through this level of logistics is to have systems in your business that keep you and your team aligned so that things can operate and run smoothly. There are 4 core systems that really, to me, fall into a staging business. It's inventory and logistics, it's client communication, it's scheduling and operations, and marketing and lead management. I want to talk about each of those today in a little bit more depth and help you understand how you can build systems around each of these so that your business can be flowing smoothly. Let's dive in and start with inventory and logistics. When I first started my company, I had it all in my head. Actually, I had it all in my head, and then I had paper checklists to keep track of where all of my inventory was. And that sort of worked in that small season when I had 1 or 2 storage units full of furniture. But very quickly, when we moved into a warehouse and now had 4, 5 houses staged, knowing where that one beige sofa was located was nearly impossible. And keeping track of what was coming and what was going all of a sudden became this jumbled mess. And I realized very quickly that I needed some sort of system to understand and control our inventory. If you don't have one in your business already, and you are a stager, I highly recommend adopting an inventory management system. This is something that's going to allow you to look at any of the projects that you have ongoing and know what is in them currently, what you plan to put into them, or what items are going to be coming back into your warehouse soon. And that is so key because it allows you to optimize your inventory, to know what's going to come back into your warehouse on Monday so it can go right back out the door on Tuesday. The second key piece to systemize is client communication. Now, I know sometimes people think communication should be natural, and it should, absolutely. But you need to have systems in place to make sure that you're speaking to your client often and that they're not coming to you looking for information. So as you are preparing for your installation, do you have the lockbox code? Make sure you have a system in place to ask for that well in advance so you're not scrambling the morning of while the movers are sitting in the driveway. I have been there. I've had those days. And so asking for this information up front is key. Setting expectations for them so that they know what time you're arriving to the property and what time you're expected to be done. There is nothing worse than a realtor coming in and saying, hey, I thought you'd be done by noon and my photographer's here and ready, and you're still unpacking boxes. And so setting clear expectations around how long a project is going to take and how it's going is crucial, not only for your success, but for the listing agent's success as well. Also, when you're communicating, setting clear expectations expectations and an understanding of how this design is going to turn out. Do you know the goals and the objectives of the listing agent? Maybe they really want to highlight a certain feature in the home. Was that a conversation you've already had? And if not, it's probably one you should have. Understanding what their goals are, because this is ultimately their project and it's your job to make them look really good. And so you always want to make sure that you're communicating, but not just having these ad hoc conversations, but you've built out a system or a checklist to make sure that each of these key elements are factored in your communication with your client. The third is marketing and lead management. Now, tracking what you're doing for marketing is key. Maybe you're out there on social media doing your thing and you feel like you're crushing it. Maybe you're networking and attending events and building relationships. Maybe you're paying for ads and you're playing in the creative ad space. All of those things are great options, but they're not going to help you grow your business unless you know which ones are working and how well they're working. If I sat down with you and you said, hey, I'm doing these 3 things, and I say, great, which one is giving you a better return on your investment, and you can't answer, then you don't have enough systems in place. You need to know your data and know what your efforts are producing so that you know what to do more of, because maybe what you're finding is those networking events are not actually coming to fruition. And so you ex-nay a certain event in order for you to get time back to invest it into more social media efforts. But knowing your data is the only way that you're going to know how to make those decisions. The other key element to think about is scheduling and operations. There is so much that goes into the logistics and the behind the scenes of what we do every single day. And we are always working with revolving and moving calendars because the real estate market is not predictable and real life happens. Can't tell you how many times an agent has called and said due diligence fell through, we've got to keep the staging in, or all of a sudden the house went under contract and I need this stuff out in 2 days. And so what your calendar looks like on Monday is going to be different than what that calendar looks like midway through the week. It will have changed to 7 times over by then. And so being able to have true systems where my entire team knows what's happening every single day as it's changing, where my movers and my third-party companies know every single change that's happening as it's happening, allows us to be one unified front and not scrambling to make sure we communicate and tell each other all the information that we need to know. It is so crucial and key to be thinking about a shared calendar, for example, that everyone can access, that acts as your Bible for where everyone should be and when. A shared resource where they can access lockbox codes or pertinent information about the property. Maybe you have an agent that has special requests about how a property is cared for. Those are things that need to be easily accessible on the regular for your team. Honestly, when you have those systems in place, you start to see a different version of your business. You're not spending your day chasing things down or dealing with emergencies or putting out fires and spending your late nights sending out estimates. We've all been there. You actually get to spend your time investing in relationships, being proactive in what you're doing, developing your team the way that you're supposed to, and something else really interesting happens. Your profitability goes up too. And these are the things that allow you to be a business that's not just here today, but that's going to be here 10 years from now as well. Let me share with you a little behind the scenes of what our chaos looked like before we had good systems in. A typical Friday install would look a little something like this. We would be scrambling in the morning in the warehouse to find the last accent chair and the last end table that we needed for the house that somehow magically got eaten up by the warehouse and we can't find it. And so we're an hour late to our installation. We show up to our installation, everybody's frazzled because they've already had a heck of a morning, and we're doing the best that we can. And furniture starts coming in and moving into place. And now all of a sudden my living room has a sofa and accent chairs and things are coming together, but the rug shows up. And so all the furniture has to get picked up, moved out of the living room so we can lay down the rug and place the furniture again. We head over to the bedroom and you've got things all set up, and now you have a bed set up because your team is doing exactly what they're supposed to do. The bedding is in, things are getting steamed, and you look down and realize you forgot to hang the art above the bed, which means that perfectly steamed bed that everybody wants is now going to get stepped on because you have to hang art over it. And oh, by the way, the lamps have to get plugged in underneath behind the bed, and you can't even get there without messing up all of the brand new bedding. These are the simple little things that used to happen to us all the time until I had this moment where I said, enough is enough. What if we just pause what we are doing? What if we stop tripping over ourselves and we think about a better way to do this? And that better way now today looks so drastically different. All of our inventory is pulled 24 to 48 hours before it goes out. So the first thing that happens in the morning when everybody is fresh and excited about the day they get in the truck, and they go. And once we have that completed, do you know the very first thing we put into our homes? It's lamps, because I got tired of crawling over nightstands and beds and sideboards to get them plugged in. I finally learned that if I plug my lamp in first, it makes it so much easier. I check for the light bulbs, I make sure things are working the way that they're supposed to. And the second thing that comes into every one of our homes, it's our rugs, because once the rug is placed perfectly in the room, the furniture can be brought in and dropped one time only. Only one time does our sofa have to be touched. No more of this back and forth and in the room and out of the room scenarios that we used to deal with. And you know what the best part is the chaos of an install day definitely went away. But what's even better is our efficiency improved. All of a sudden, something that was taking us 5 hours to install, we were doing in 3. And do you know what that meant? That meant we had capacity to serve more clients. That means we were able to go out to more properties the same day. It also meant my team didn't want to pull their hair out at the end of the day because things ran smoothly. These are all things that can happen with little micro systems in place. Simple things. Put your lamps in first. That's it. This isn't some big system that's going to take months to adopt and a ton of work to do. Sometimes it's these little actions that you reflect on that make all the difference in the world in your business. The other place where systems really play is sometimes actually adopting software solutions that help your business and help your day-to-day. Now, I told you before that we use an inventory management system to check things off. But this is a very real life way that we like to implement something that makes things easier. Now, I mentioned before that we like to utilize software resources as well, and this is another big part of systems that make things easier. We use an inventory management system called Arched that we were able to create to really support what our day-to-day is and our activity. And what's interesting is not only does this now allow us to know where all of our furniture is at any given time, but it allows us to create our designs in a much more streamlined way. What used to be a version of us where we would walk through the aisles of our warehouse and point and pick out every single art piece and vase and an accent chair that was going to go into the home now has turned into an online shopping portal. And so it's a fantastic resource because it's saving so much time instead of walking back and forth down the aisles. But it also is allowing our teams to design at their convenience in spaces that are not 95 degrees in the middle of the summer or 30 degrees in the middle of the winter when we're all freezing and bundled up in jackets. It allows us to work and function in better spaces. It allows us to design more methodically so we're not bouncing between aisles and getting our steps in there. We can get them in at the install plenty fine. These, again, are the simple things where bringing in systems, bringing in software solutions that exist for your industry and allow you to be better will multiply the growth and the success and the impact that this has in your business. So really, systems are not glamorous. They're not the sexy thing we talk about in the design industry, but they are fundamentally the thing that keeps our businesses running. And they are crucial to allowing you to have a business not just today, but 10 years from now that runs and operates as you grow and you scale. So I'm curious, what system changed the game for your business? Comment down below. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is In Good Space.